Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Elevating Your Life. We are going to be elevated. I am going to share just a fantastic guest, a good friend, and who just has done so much amazing work in his life. I'm really happy to share with everyone today Austin Sloan. And Austin, he isn't just a name, he's a brand that resonates with creativity and inspiration in the worlds of art, acting, and education. As an artist, he captures the imagination, weaving vibrant stories through his visual pieces. His acting skills have seen him adopt numerous characters, bringing each to life with a depth that only true dedication can achieve. Austin's journey doesn't stop there. His passion for art seamlessly blends with his role as a teacher, where he inspires and nurtures new generations of creative minds. And the latest feather in his cap is the launch of an incredible project, a series of unique coloring books designed to unlock the artist in each of us. And they are fantastic. I have ordered multiple books. They make great gifts for family members. They're just absolutely amazing. So first off, welcome, Austin. I'm so excited to have you on the show.
I know, it's amazing to be here.
Oh, I'm just so thrilled. Oh my gosh.
Always great to talk to you.
Oh, thank you, dear. Well, I would love to have you share, a bit of background of kind of what drew you to going into the, world of art and acting. Tell us a bit about that.
Um, I would say it was gosh, back in the 90s. Just out of college and wasn't sure what to do, was working at the airlines, and in between flights, loading suitcases and stuff, I was reading this book called The Celestine Prophecy by James Redfield, I think it is. And it kind of turned my world. They're like, you can kind of manifest everything you want. I mean, it was like magic. And so I don't know, I just kind of gobbled up all that stuff and started reading all the different people who had written stuff like Law of Attraction, and went and saw different people. Became friends with one book I really liked, Law of Attraction by Michael Luzier, who's up in Victoria. But yeah, kind of like started living my life like that. And also at the same time, I had started doing genealogy in high school. And so found out a lot of different things about my family that I didn't know. And between that and then taking care of my great aunt for about 6 months when she had a stroke, we had a lot of good talks, and especially with her, she was in her 80s, and she goes, I had a job, I made money. She goes, I did well, but I didn't leave the world a better place. She goes, if I could do it again, she goes, if there's any advice I can give you to do it again, she goes, take chances, be happy, do things that are fun, and live your life. So at that point, I was unemployed. So I ended up going back, getting my master's for teaching, became a teacher in tech. Well, yeah, pretty much anything digital, tech, coding, graphic arts. And then started doing intuitive art. So I started doing kind of like in psychic readings for people, but drawing. And I don't know, it kind of went from there. Just that plus getting into the tech part of it, the computer art. I did a lot of Photoshop and Painter and just creating different things, and kind of going with my intuition of whatever was going to be drawn was what was going to be drawn. And sometimes I never knew what was going to be the end product, but it was amazing how it affected people who I drew for.
What triggered the idea to create coloring books? And they're so unique. They're so fantastic. What drew you to coloring books?
So the coloring books kind of came the way of my rescue dog. We rescued a dog, a pup. Well, he was about a year old from an abusive house, and I just started taking pictures of him and started doing stuff on the computer with pictures of him, and I thought, I want to make a children's book with him as the main character. And then as I started playing around with different photos I had of him and drawing art with him, and I thought, I want to do coloring books. I think, kids love coloring books, and I don't know, just seemed like there weren't coloring books out there that I thought would be pretty cool to do. Mm-hmm. And then a friend told me that they did coloring books, and I didn't realize adults did coloring books.
Yeah.
And so I just started putting together drawings, and I don't know.
And they're so fantastic. And yeah, adults do. I know for myself, I do coloring with my grandkids. Mm-hmm. So these have been great books that we can share and color together. And I mean, and we feel so good when we're finished with a page. Your coloring books help us bring out our creativity. That is really an awesome thing, Austin.
Yeah, exactly. And that's part of the, to kind of like my intuitive art is putting the things out there that will bring, good energy out there to people and make them feel good. And so it's been pretty cool. I didn't think, I would sell many. Mm-hmm. So every time I look, I'm shocked.
Well,
I mean, I think I just passed 600, and I started like 6 months ago.
Oh, they're fantastic. They're fantastic. And I'm looking forward to Christmas gifts them. And I think I mentioned to you, I have some schools in Africa I support. And
yes,
I'm going to be sending some to my students in Africa. They are so amazing. And that is such a great thing is and some of them, they're not easy. Some are easy, some aren't, they really take some concentration, and you get it done and you feel good. And I can see how that's going to inspire and open up so much artistic creativity and a window to someone who didn't realize they enjoyed being artistic. It's a great tool for anybody that colors them.
Yeah, I mean, and they got me through the pandemic too, so I didn't have much to do besides play around and be creative.
And you were, and the different themes. Did that just come to you? Like, of course, the dog, wonderful. And then this one, old-fashioned houses. Well, how did you get that idea?
That was my first idea. Just as the pandemic started, I was filming a few episodes of the new Perry Mason show, and it was a period piece, and I really loved the old architecture, and so I just started creating, my own version of them, and I've got a lot of them. Not all of them look great, but. And I started doing different houses then. I started doing whimsical houses and, every type of architecture I could think of.
I love it. I love it. Just fantastic and creative. And I do want to ask you, what triggered you to get into your acting career? And what were some of your funnest roles? And share some of that with us, because that is just so cool.
Yeah. Well, it was around the time I met you, I think, when I really started going for it. I think we were both starting our path where we're at now. Which is funny because I just happened to be going to your office with just a chance thing, because I was actually going to see a friend that was in the next office and he was not there. And I thought, Reiki, what's Reiki? But anyhow,
we were meant to meet.
Yeah.
Become friends.
And so let's see the acting part. So when Northern Exposure was filming in Washington, over in Roslyn, I would go over there all the time because I just loved the show. And I'd watch them film. And in fact, I was there so much that they started asking me to do different things, thinking I was one of the workers. And in fact, when Peg died, she was one of the main characters, to her funeral in Bellevue. People were like, "Oh, where have you been? What have you been doing?" No, I was just somebody in your way. But so how the acting came about was I was always trying to inspire my students. I'm like, do not let fear ever stop you from doing what you want to do. If you want to try something, don't let fear stop it. And then after, few years of giving that advice, I was like, why am I giving that advice and I'm not doing it myself? So I thought, okay. Out of the blue, I got this email from an agency in Portland, about a show called Grimm. So I thought, okay, I will send in the only picture I have is my passport picture. So I will send that to them. And, you're not smiling in your passport picture. I'm like, I'm not going to get the job. And a week later, I was on the set of Grimm and did 17 episodes, I believe it was, that season.
What was that like, Austin? Was it just like, okay, what am I going to be doing? And then your experience?
Well, at that time, it was my number one show. I mean, in fact, when I was I started with season 3. But season 1, I was sitting there watching with friends, and I'm like, someday I'm going to be on that show. And then didn't even think about it. And yeah, so then I was, I don't know, it was surreal. I mean, it was like I got sucked into my TV. I mean, here I am. I'm watching this show, and the characters are right there, and then all of a sudden, they're right there. They're they're next to me. We're in a scene together. I was like, this is so crazy. And of course, I'd never done background before, never done never done acting like that except for like first grade, and so yeah, it was pretty surreal. Yeah. I mean, I think the whole first year I was, I'd be sitting there filming my scene, and then they'd film their scene, and I'm watching them, and I'm like, not even the Queen has the ability to be where I'm at right now. So I don't know. It was pretty amazing. So I played a cop for most of the first season, and then season 2 and season 4 and 5. I came back as FBI and chef. But then I did other ones. I did like 14 different projects that first year.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, I got cast in a TLC TV show called what was it called? Finding the Prophet, or Finding something like that, where I played the sheriff and the marshal, U.S. Marshal. And yeah, that was pretty wild. to actually have a role where, you know, you're right there in front of the camera, and you know,
That had to be
focus of,
so fun.
yeah,
And
it was amazing.
you
But
taking that step of, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna
yeah,
try. I'm gonna apply. I'm gonna do it. It's that first step that can be our hardest thing. But it doesn't happen if we don't take that step. You know,
yeah, you just got to not let the
that's
fear stop
emotion.
you,
Mm-hmm.
because, you know, if I didn't take the chance, I would still be living life, but I would not have had the experiences I had. I mean, I've been able to go to so many different events down in California, going to Grammy events. And see, the last one I went to was the Grammys in 2020, right before the pandemic. And that was kind of cool. And I actually got to sit in the area where all the stars were. So, you know, I'm walking by Ariana Grande and um,
Oh,
Brandy Carlisle, who's we're from the same town. So,
how fun. Yeah. And LA during all that, it's just alive with all of that. Oh,
oh yeah. And I've met some pretty cool people. I mean, I was down there one time filming an episode of How to Get Away with Murder and trying to eat healthy. So I was at the salad bar and everybody else is over at the junk bar. So I'm sitting there getting my salad, and somebody walks up behind me and says, "Oh, what looks good today?" And I look over and it's Viola Davis. And so we just talked for a little bit, but yeah, I got her to try some things that she had not tried before.
oh, how fun. So,
Yeah.
what other advice would you have for someone that, you know, that wants to be a young artist or and go into acting? Any other advice you would give to them?
I would say if you have any inclination to do it, start taking classes. Start taking, if you want to do acting, start joining acting classes, join Facebook groups. Um, yeah, just take chances. One of the things I did at first, which was kind of insane, was I was reading an ad out of Craigslist where they needed their lead person had quit and they had one more show to do in Vancouver. And I'd never done stage besides first grade. So I went and auditioned, and they called me back and said, "You got the part. Can you learn 25 pages of lines by next week?"
Oh, no, 25 pages?
Yes. And I'm thinking, I'm the person at the party who can't remember anybody's name after they tell me, you know, they have to tell me their name like 3 times before I can remember it. And I'm like, oh Lord, what did I?
Oh my goodness.
But I'm thinking that now. But at the moment, I was like, no, I'm going to learn these lines. I'm going to learn them. I recorded the lines so that at night I could listen to myself reading the lines over and over.
Excellent.
Um, I did it with friends. I went outside to, you know, like to a park and just said the lines out loud. And yeah, that whole week I was just trying to, and not even memorize the lines, just to like get a sense of what was going on in the play. So I had an idea, if I forgot the lines, I would at least know what to talk about.
Yes. Yes. So how did that go? How did that go?
Well, that was also very surreal because I was used to small little theaters, and this was like a brand new cultural center up there in, I think, Chilliwack or something. And so it was like at least 500 seats. So it was huge for me. Um, but I went out on stage, and I also was wearing the person who quit his toga because I was playing Hercules. It
Wow.
was Hercules in the gold, and and it was for kids, so they weren't going to be too rough on me, I didn't think. But yeah, so I'm wearing a toga that was for a six guy. But I go out there and I couldn't see the audience. It's just lights. It was like there's just like this wall of lights. You don't see anything except for the people in the front, their feet, bottom of their feet. So I mean, it was good, but yeah, it was. I don't know if that's what way it is all the time because I've only done it once. I would have rather been able to see people so I could kind of connect.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um, but I think it was a good experience too. I mean, I did it. It was something that I didn't think I could ever do, and I did it.
You did it. You did it. I love it. An
Yeah.
accomplishment. I love it.
And just like TV, I never thought I could do it. I thought I'm going to be that person. They see the camera, they're going to be like, deer in a headlight. And after a while, I'm just like, where is the camera? I didn't know.
Yeah.
So,
isn't it great how we can take that step? It can be difficult and open up so much. I remember when I was first asked to, almost 9 years ago, be a host of a show, talking to thousands of people. And I was like, I gotta think about it. When we take a step to do something, so much can open up in us and grow.
oh
And
yeah,
it's that, like you say, don't let fear stop you and take that step.
it's almost like every day you look in the candy store, you see it, it looks good, but until you go through the door, you're never going to experience what it tastes like.
That candy. Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of like, the experiences of doing things that you love. If you, go through the door,
Yeah.
get a taste of it. Maybe you don't like it, but at least try it.
And,
I,
that can be so true for so many things in our life because everybody's unique. Everybody has, what they'd like to create or their dreams of creating. And that is so true.
yeah. Yeah. And you never know where it's going to, that's the one thing this is probably the biggest lesson I learned was when you have life changes, it's not easy. So if you go through a breakup or if you lose a job, you think your world's over
Mm-hmm.
because you don't want change. You're very comfortable. You don't want change. But what I've learned is, like people say, when one door closes, one door opens. It's not easy when you're going through it at first. Like if you're going through a divorce or you lose somebody or whatever. But looking back, I'm just like, thank God those doors closed because I would not have experienced, I would not be able to do all the creative stuff that I like to do had those doors stayed closed. I mean, stayed
Puts
open.
us on a different path. Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
That is so
yeah.
true. Austin,
And
we just have a couple more minutes in the show. Tell everyone how they can get copies of your books and
okay.
any last words you want to share with everybody today.
The coloring books you can get on Amazon.com and just type in my name, Austin Sloan, Sloan. And let's see, my other products, if you want to try to find, I mean, if you want, not try to find them, but if you go to ajsloan.com, so AJSLOAN.com, you can find those. And one more thing I want to share too is I didn't know this. One of my favorite shows was Little House on the Prairie. And doing genealogy, I found out last year my great grandparents, who were the Olsons before they changed their name to Sloan, lived in Walnut Grove, Minnesota. And they're buried there. And they were there at the same time as the Ingalls. So,
Oh my gosh.
yeah,
Oh,
amazing. Yeah, and I with genealogy, looking back, I mean, I've got people that came over in the Mayflower, relatives that were at the Salem witch trials, so leave your mark on the world.
Mm-hmm.
Don't, get out of your living room. Go do something that's gonna change the world or change your world.
Yeah,
I think that would be my advice is, you know, be remembered for something,
that's
like my
great
aunt would
advice.
say.
And that can be so many different things. It could be an act of kindness, making a difference in a life or for an animal, or I mean, or going, I mean, that can be in so many ways. It really can.
Yeah, and just be appreciating being alive. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
everybody's so seems like they're so angry with each other these days, and just be one of the nice people.
Yeah, yeah,
We need more nice people.
we do. And sharing that, being nice, sharing kindness, compassion with others, and the doors that can open up for us. And yeah, each of us can make a difference in the world. We really can. Yeah.
Yep. And
Well,
look for my children's book coming up soon too. I've got to finish
I,
that.
I was just going to ask you real quick before we go, what other projects do you have coming up? So another book coming?
It's going to be color. It's not going to be a coloring book. It's going to be a children's book, um, featuring my rescue dog, which is the most awesome dog in the world.
Oh,
I never thought that I could get it. I mean, I've had great dogs, but I never had a dog that. I mean, I think his first part of his life was so bad that getting love, he's just like out of this world.
yeah, yeah. Oh,
I
there's
mean,
nothing like
he
rest.
just when we go to bed at night, he just crawls over and he just wants to be hugged and loved, and
Oh,
then he rolls over, puts his feet up in the air, and
oh,
and goes to sleep.
oh. Well,
Yeah, he's
Austin,
awesome.
thank you for your inspiration and everything, and all that you've created and done for so many. I'm just so thrilled to be your friend and to be able to share you on the show. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
I appreciate you too. Thank you.
You're welcome. Everybody, thank you for joining us today. Love, hugs, and blessings. Austin, love, hugs, and blessings.
You too.